In Jerusalem with about 100 of these going down my back, and I had what I was wearing was an amethyst stone, a big amethyst crystal, and a tank top with an airbrushed mushroom on it. I had surf shorts and flip-flops, and that was basically all I wore for 12 years straight at that point. Meaning, all I did was surf. I surfed 6 to 8 hours a day. If I wasn't surfing, as you heard, I was mountain biking. And I was like, those rich kids are called like trust babies. So, and then you've met Rastafarians. So I was a trustafarian, a trustafarian. And those are the kids who are the truth seeker types, the dynamic truth seekers with a big background, meaning a well-to-do background. And what's interesting is that you would think they're really the fakers of the searchers, but they're sometimes the most intense searchers, because the rest of the people trying to search for the meaning of life usually have to eventually face reality and make a living. Trustafarians get to keep searching. And so I was really sad. 11 years old was when I finally decided to really kind of drop out and discover truth. And I went for this search. Now, my family's originally were Hasidim. From my father's side, were Hasidim from Romania. And they lived in a town that only had 4 families, mud streets, and they were just kind people. We had a cow, and my great-grandmother would milk the cow and put milk in front of all the poor people's doors in that community there before dawn, and try to do it as anonymously as possible. But by the time they got to America, to the U.S., so the American dream set in. Now, unfortunately, the American dream for the Jewish people is often the American nightmare. And that means that, when you come in as immigrants and you got that foreign accent and it's almost a little embarrassing, and you're the dream is that your grandkids will have fit in so well that, it's almost seamless. But the problem is in the Jewish world, we don't want to be that seamless with with our success in North America. But my family was very successful, and at 11 years old I decided I was just going to reject everything and just let my hair grow. My father was a swimwear manufacturer, specifically manufacturing surfwear, and I, being a surfer, it worked out quite well. And he basically lived vicariously through me. He was kind of a workaholic, 3-piece suit businessman, and we were quite opposites. I had a lot of charisma, so he kind of dreamed I would run his company, and the fact that I couldn't do basic math was not encouraging for him. But because I'm really in Kabbalah, you learn there's the flow side is the right, and the structure side is the left, and he was very structured, and I was very flow, and so I just was never going to be running his company. Grew up there in Los Angeles. We grew up in West LA. Our neighbors were, next door to us was John Densmore, the drummer of the Doors. Remember the Doors? Yeah. So that was our next door neighbor, the drummer of the Doors. And then behind our house was Dustin Hoffman, who lived right behind us, and then on our right was a man named Ron Clark, who was Mel Brooks' partner in writing for Hollywood. And he actually had a $70,000 lawsuit pending on decibel levels coming out of our house. And we had a lot of big parties, and all the time. To this day, this year, I met another person who was at our parties, and I've never met these people. And when he heard my last name, he says, yeah, there was a legendary family in Los Angeles, I'm sure you don't know them, named Glaser, who threw these gigantic parties, and they literally would send helicopters with spotlights in the backyard just to disperse the crowd. And they would have cop cars on Sunset Boulevard because the light on the corner of Barrington and Sunset wasn't long enough to get the cars out. And so they would actually stop traffic just to usher the cars out of our house. I mean, it was really, quite an experience. And I taught myself how to drive when I was 12, around 2 in the morning. And in my mother's Datsun 280ZX, which subsequently at 16 years old, I managed to fly off a cliff into the living room of some family. And we're, thank God, at dinner and not in the living room. And they were like, you know, after the crash, we noticed you and your best friend, you just went to the back of the car to look at something before you even checked if you were okay. And I said, yes, our surfboards were back there. Anyway, it was really embarrassing too, because it turns out they had a daughter in our high school. And, you know, so the lady actually knew my mother, who was eating dinner in the living room there. But I grew up in a really fast background, fast environment. It was just the opposite of Ottawa, actually. There was a lot going on, and Rabbi, hey, I stashed a bottle of water by my hat right back at stage there. If you can grab that for me, there's no way I'm going to be able to sing for this period of time with that. I can speak forever. It's like massage. We're coming up to another song. Yeah, it's right back there. Thank you, Rabbi.